Well, hello. I thought I would discuss today the word or the concept of head. So, what is head? And so it can mean like several things. And the first one was like maybe like head of the class. So you could say class top student or student with best grade. So they're the head of the class, they're at the top of the class, they're at the top. So that's what I would use because, like, you could say best student, or you could say, oh, the class, she's the top, right? Or he's the top. If they were in high school, it'd be maybe the valedictorian, things like that. Um, Also, it could be, of course, the obvious is the head, and that's how you do head. You do both the top and the bottom head. Our head, our brain, our eyes, the head. You can talk about various things with the head, and it's normally like in a medical way. You wouldn't say the head of the class, you would say class at the top. Now, if it's the head of a company, that would be the boss. Remember, we did our ampulates, and it's an open C handshake. So you would put that ampulate on top of your shoulder. So that is being like the head of a company. You could also, so you say the boss or the owner. They don't necessarily the top of the company or the head of the company. They could just be a silent partner. But you could also do it that way if they're involved in it. You could say the owner, the company, he's the owner, he owns it, he's in charge. You could also do manager. You could have your closed X hand shapes, and then you like you're pulling the reins of a horse. We've done this sign several times. So they're the boss or the managers, and then since we've got this manage or control, then we do it a person. They become a manager. You can even do that for director. So this company, they are that person. That person is the boss, right? The manager or the director. So they are the head of the company. You could do it that way, the head of the company. What else? I want to make sure. Oh, if you are like in school, I see this a lot. Can you start reading from the, you know, the head of the chapter, right? Or it could be like a top of a page. And so you could even say the book, page 31, the top, right? The head, the heading, whatever. And I would always draw like a little box because the heading is sometimes in italicized, and italicized be the words at a slant, right? So that would be italicized. Or sometimes it is in a box. So that would be the heading, like your paper. The heading of your paper needs to have your name and the date and this class, right? So that would be a heading. The heading of your resume, or the heading of your cover letter, or the heading to this paper, this essay that you're writing. So that would be the head, right? Also, and it can be like in the military, I'm going to the head, so they're going to the bathroom, right? So it's a T for, you could say toilet, I guess, but that is to the restroom or to the bathroom. We would voice it to the men's room, to the ladies' room, the restroom, the powder room. But in ASL, it's the same concept, right? It's the restroom. I've seen a lot of deaf people say the restroom, RR, the restroom. I have seen that. But bathroom. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's more vulgar. That's more, attachment with the English language. So that is the head. And I'm trying to think of anything else that may be called a head. Oh, like if you're at the head of a line, here we go. So you make your line, and for whatever reason, you could do it this way. To me, this is more left-handed, but I am ambidextrous, so maybe what I'm doing is a left-handed way. But I tend to use my dominant hand, or the hand I write with, the back of the line, right? So we have our line, which is our open, this is our forehand shape. And so this is like the front of the line, your left hand or non-dominant hand. This is the way I do it. You could do it this way, but I would have a tendency to do it. It feels more left-handed. Um, and so then you've got the line, and it could be a long line or it could be a short line, right? Or it goes on and on and on, or it goes around a corner, right? It goes around a corner. So if you're at the head of the line, you would do line, and then because this is my front of the line, my non-dominant hand, or in this case, my left hand, then my pinky finger is at the head of the line. They're the first person in line. So line, that person, the very first person, the head of the line. You could also do like, see, this is easier because this is more ASL, right? This first person, you know, they're in charge of where we're going or how we're going to PE or whatever. You could say the first person in line, but that is the first person. So you don't need to go into that extra work, right? You can say line, they're in charge, right? We're all following you, right? So those are all the things that I would use for the word head. And remember, it's not necessarily the word, but it's the concept. We are using English as our first language, and now we're trying to translate that into a different language. And how is that used? If we think of that word head, what is the concept involved with it? Anyway, practice and listen to what people are saying, what you hear on any kind of like social media or the news or just people talking, and how are they using that word. And so you can kind of translate that into the concept in ASL. We'll see you later. Bye. Have fun.